Good afternoon, everyone. You are watching and tuned into Spotlight on the Arts, Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and I want to welcome my guest today. His name is David Vallejo. He's an artist and illustrator. Welcome, David. Thank you for stopping by the studio today during your lunch hour.
Hello.
We got a lot to cover today, it looks like, but before we do that, I want to talk about ways to donate to KXVS. I usually start off the show that way, and I read my little script. Let's see here. Ways to donate to the Voice of Stockton, KXVS 92.1. A voice is one of the most important things a community can have. Our community is in need of such a voice. The Voice of Stockton, KXVS, has answered that call. We're building a new community radio station, your radio station, and we need your help. We are inviting everyone to join the effort so together we can build our citywide FM radio station. There are several ways to contribute. You can go online to kxvs.org and look for the link to PayPal. You can also do by mail. Donations can be mailed to KXVS, The Voice of Stockton, P.O. Box 4123, Stockton, California 95204. You can make checks and money orders payable to KXVS, The Voice of Stockton. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so donations made to The Voice of Stockton can be tax deductible. The show, Breaking Barriers, is our Wednesday lunchtime show, and it focuses on, but is not limited to, showcasing the arts in the greater Stockton area by providing a platform for creative expression of views, issues, and current events. So, with that being said, David, you said you found parking okay.
Yes.
No meter maids chasing you down.
Hopefully
right?
not.
Okay, good. David, I actually met David, I guess, 2 years ago in 2015 during Draw It Out exhibit at the fairgrounds. And me and a few other ladies from Cleveland School Remembers put together this exhibit, and David was one of the artists that displayed his work. How many pieces did you have?
The first show I had three pieces.
Uh-huh.
It was part of kind of like a triptych display.
Uh-huh. That was in 2000. Yeah, that's the 2015 show, I believe.
Yeah, I can't remember the date.
Yeah, I know. It's just blurred. And then last year you had
another piece, just one piece. It was a watercolor with India ink in it. It was a picture of a boy in cowboy costume.
Yes,
and,
okay.
Yeah.
That's the one I do remember. I don't think I remember the first one. That one was the one that was also displayed at the Cesar Chavez
That was at
Gallery,
the
right?
fairgrounds, and the first one, the one before, was at the Mexican Heritage Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember also coordinating something with Cesar Chavez Library's gallery, where David also displayed some as the one piece.
I think that was that one piece.
The little cowboy.
Yeah.
The piece. And yeah, it was really cool. So I just said, you know what, I got to get David in the studio because I loved his stuff.
Well, I'm glad you did.
So you decided to, show your work at the San Joaquin County Fairgrounds exhibit. How did you find out about it?
I found out through, I think it was Joy Niece,
Mm-hmm.
or it might have been Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that network of artists and art people, somehow I found out about it, and I just thought it was a really worthy cause, especially with some of the things that were happening lately at the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it is just a really important topic, and that I had something to say.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? Actually, last night, I got to show you this. The ladies from Cleveland School, Judy.
Which are a
Weldon.
wonderful group of ladies, by the way.
Absolutely. They went to City Council, and they agreed that June 2nd will be the perfect day to proclaim National Gun Violence Prevention Day.
Wow.
So they're having a rally at the DeCarly Plaza
Uh-huh.
on June 2nd, 4:30 to 5:30 for those that are
Awesome.
interested. That's at the downtown area by the waterfront. So yeah,
Excellent.
making huge progress.
Yeah,
on
they're very
the
proactive. I'm
gun
really
prevention.
appreciate what they do.
Yeah. So I'm going to bring up the image that you had at the exhibit? That's my favorite one.
It would be probably in the blog, the graphic gab session.
The graphic gab section. Wow. Yeah.
And you might have to scroll a little bit.
This one is cool, the Wizard of Oz one.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So it's right over here.
There's my little guy right there. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you were also, I was reading your graphic gab section there, your blog. I love it. You had mentioned that you were in the military. And
Yes.
I'd like to thank you. Absolutely thank you for your services. What branch of the military were you in?
Being in the military, I think it was always a desire, but it wasn't all that encouraged by my parents, which is kind of funny because my dad was in the Navy. Oh. But I think he just didn't want me to join the Army. I think that was it. That's what I wanted to do.
He wanted you to join the Navy, right?
Yeah. So if I'm going to do it, join the Navy. But anyway, so it's something I always wanted, but I kind of waited a little bit longer. So I was already married when I joined. So I thought, well, I don't want to drag my wife all around the world, so I joined the Army Reserve. So we got to stay at home and then do drills and stuff like that. And so and I always had the desire to serve my country, and I got to do that. I was deployed once to of all places, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and that was an experience. If you've never been in the military, then that's all I can really say. But it was you were
able to travel to different parts of the world.
Yeah,
too,
it was funny. Nice. I was excited about going to Cuba, but I didn't realize that Guantanamo was just closed off from all of Cuba. So it's just kind of like this no man's land, and all the exciting stuff is on the other side of the fence line.
Yeah, Guantanamo Bay is that's serious business right there.
Yeah.
That's not exciting. That is serious business.
Yeah. So anyway.
So how did your experience in the military affect your worldview?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I'm not exactly sure, but I think just expanding my worldview, and just it's much broader now than before I started the military. And one of the aspects of my job in the military was to just kind of know what's happening around the world and keeping my unit up to date on the things that are happening in current affairs, as well as military and all that. And so it really broadened my view much more and made me much more aware. And I think that awareness really has an effect on a person's art and just kind of what they say and how they say it.
Yeah, there's sometimes when people go through certain experiences, you can see a continuity in their art, like a specific theme that's always brought up. And I don't necessarily see that in your art. Yours is very dynamic and fluid with different themes and different looks and different textures. So is there an influence in a way from the military that you brought onto your art at all? Is there there's some a little bit of a political undertone on some?
Yeah.
So
my art, I think on the surface seems really simple, but underneath there are a lot of different things happening. A lot of it is just me observing things around me. And so, and also me maybe responding to things, usually in a humorous way.
Yeah.
And how I don't know, deal with stress or stressful things or just weird things happening in the world. I deal with it in a humorous way. And so I'm looking at this cowboy figure here, and he kind of puts a smile on your face because it kind of takes us back to a time when we were kids, and it's just kind of a fun piece, but the under the surface, there's also some pretty serious things happening too, especially in the context of the art show. Right.
Yeah. And like I said, this particular piece here was shown during the Not One More exhibit, and it's art against violence. Back then it seemed so innocent, when we were kids growing up, cowboys and Indians bringing out the pistols and chasing after each other, and it wasn't, as harsh as it is now. Nowadays, parents are deathly afraid of what's going on just down the street, and sometimes kids can't even go out and play, you know?
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head, pretty much. And I'm interested in hearing how they respond to this piece, and it's usually different than what I intended.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking pretty much what you just said, as far as when we were kids, we used to play cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians and have rock fights and cry. And we never thought about going to a school and doing a mass shooting or these horrible things have happened. And so I think it's kind of a response to our change in how we look at things and our culture, how back then, a lot of times we were told that we were too callous about certain things. But now we're also kind of told that, I don't know if we're told this, but we're kind of the opposite. We're not too callous on certain things. And so when we see...
not enough.
And there's
just
like not a
enough.
happy medium, though, because back then we kind of overlooked certain things to a fault. But now we respond to things almost to a fault, too.
Right.
So there's...
It's good to have, to be sensitive to those things, but at the same time...
how we go about things, I think, is...
Right.
And so I like to respond to things with questions, because I think with these controversial issues, if it's controversial, that's usually an indicator that maybe there's not just one right answer, and maybe we need to just kind of listen to each other and think of different ideas.
I agree. I try and stay neutral on certain matters, because it's one way for me to learn about the subject or the topic from different angles. I'm not, pro or con this or pro or con that, but it does help me decide ultimately what my view will be, you know, because it's sometimes there's just that gray area that's just never covered. So yeah. Did you create this one with water? This is the one with the watercolor, you said?
That's with watercolor and India ink.
Yeah.
And we could talk about that process later if you want.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So you grew up here in Stockton?
I grew up in Stockton, born and raised. Been here since I was born in 1969. So that means I'm 29, right?
Yes.
So,
that's like me. I was born in August 1969, and I'm 29 too.
Oh,
yes.
hey, yes. All right. So you're not
or
that
21.
old.
Let's see. No.
So went to Hoover and Hazleton, because you remember the busing that was going on back then. So
no, actually, I came in from the Bay Area. I grew up in the Bay Area.
That's right.
I was born in the Philippines, and I came here when I was 2 years old. And I grew up in the Bay Area. I started kindergarten, not knowing a word of English.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it was hard for me to grasp the English language at first. But then once I got started, like, oh my goodness, I couldn't stop. But I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Well, it's the busing thing that you mentioned.
It was a way to integrate different schools from one side of town to the other, and just kind of allow more for like an equal opportunity of education. And I heard a lot of complaining about it at the time from the adults, but as a child, I think it was really good for me to just kind of be with other people that might not be around my neighborhood, or I made lots of good friends, and I think a lot of good came from it. And how I see like our racial issues now, I think has been affected by that, and different cultures. And so good.
Did it seem like, when you were growing up, the different areas were different cultures or different people from different countries? Because in San Francisco, we didn't have that. It was just everybody was thrown in one place. There was not really a neighborhood that was defined. I mean, there is, like, of course, there's Chinatown, there's Japantown, but with the school that I went to in particular, there was
I think a lot of Stockton, and especially at that time, but even now a little bit, is we were just kind of divided economically, and people have their preconceptions about whatever side of town, whatever that means. And so, but with the busing thing, that integrated everybody, and I think that for me, it helped me appreciate just people for being people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when you during that time, is that when you kind of started dabbling in art?
Oh, I was
younger, or did you start later?
Full-fledged. I started really early.
Really?
Yeah. And but I do remember in the 4th grade, I had a group of art buddies, and we drew, and we started making comic books, and we were making our own characters and superheroes and stuff.
Love
and
it.
We voted for who was the best artist of the week and that kind of stuff.
Oh my
and
goodness, how cool!
Just had a blast.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like my brother. I remember him. His thing was just drawing Superman.
Yeah.
You know, that was his Superman. He was this, or Batman. It was either Superman or Batman. And he started around kindergarten, super early.
Yeah.
You know, from stick figures to then all of a sudden you can actually see the muscle form and everything else. So, yeah, that's awesome. When was your very first exhibit? Did you enter any at that age, at such a younger?
I don't think, I can't quite remember. I think one of the first things I did, one of the first actual art exhibits, I think, was actually when I was in high school. But I remember illustrating something when I was in the 6th grade, before I knew what illustration was. And it was a class project, and so 1 or 2 people wrote a story. It was about giants and monsters and swords and stuff, and it's just up my alley. And so I did the illustrations for the story, and it was published through the district or something. I wish I had a copy of it, because it'd be really fun to see.
That would
But
be.
Anyway, so that's some of my first exhibited or published kind of stuff. And then through high school, I think I did a few art shows.
Yeah.
And then I also went to the Aldrich School of Art. Have you heard of them? They've been gone for a while, but the Aldriches, Robert and Joy Aldrich,
that
had
here
an
in
art
town?
school that was here in town.
Okay.
And anyway, I was in high school when I learned of them, and they just really opened me up to the art world, because before them it was just comic books, and then as I got older it was barbarians and wenches, because adolescence. But anyway, but I was kind of running out of ideas and kind of creatively getting dry, and so they opened my mind and my eyes just to a larger art world, and
That's terrific.
really started cultivating some good stuff in me. And as I moved on to college, then
Did you actually focus on art in college?
I did. I majored
Yeah.
in art.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Which college did you go to?
I went to Delta, and I went there as long as I could. And I
Yes.
kind of meandered a bit. Didn't know what to do. My parents loved them so much, but they just didn't know how art would be a good career or anything.
Oh,
And so,
yeah.
and if you're not brought up in that, then you just don't know. You just have the idea, well, you grow up, you get a job, you hate it, and you
Exactly.
look forward to retirement. you know?
Exactly. I
But,
see that a lot happening
yeah.
too. I mean, I work with a lot of high school students at Western Ranch High School, and they always say, well, what can I do with art? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just drawing this and that. And I said, let me tell you, my brother's done fabrication. He's done
Yes.
3D art. He's done, comic books, graphic novels. And I know a lot of people that do Photoshop, graphic design. It just, if you have that foundation, it's almost like you can go wherever. I mean,
Yeah,
wherever.
exactly.
It's not just, I think what their parents are worried about is that it's not going to be lucrative enough, or it's not going to be bringing in enough money for them to support themselves. But there are ways. Maybe here in Stockton it's a little bit more challenging, but if you go to the more metropolitan areas, there's always work there.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
especially
even
with the online
nowadays,
world.
Yeah,
I was
online
just
there's
gonna say.
all kinds of opportunities.
Yeah, I know you've worked with several different organizations and companies, so you're pretty busy too.
Yeah.
But so again, this is my guest, David Vallejo. I've worked with him at the Not One More exhibit at the county fairgrounds, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to him about his current projects and what he's been up to lately. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spotlight on the Arts, Breaking Barriers. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and I've got my guest here, David Vallejo.
Hello.
He is artist, illustrator, and I met him a couple years ago, actually, during the Art Against Violence exhibit. And we were just talking about a little bit of his background and history during the first segment, and now we're going to talk about what his current project is. He actually just got done with teaching. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I've actually been teaching with something called Artists in Schools. It's a program run by the San Joaquin County Office of Education. And it's just a program that brings art back into the schools. And so they hire local artists that are skilled at also teaching, not just doing their own art. And it's for all ages. And so actually I've worked from TK, transitional to kindergarten, all the way through high school. And we just teach art principles, different art mediums, different approaches to art, historical art. We pump as much information into the kids' heads as we can.
Gosh,
and
that's
get their
a lot of
hands
stuff.
dirty and painted and all
Now,
that good stuff.
Is it like an actual, how does the class structure work? Is it, are you the only teacher there, or do you come in at certain times during the day?
I usually come in and visit each classroom in a school.
Okay.
And so they'll have like 5 or 6 different classes that I teach throughout the day.
Okay.
And I'm like a traveling artist.
Okay.
So oftentimes I'll have my art cart with me and I'll go from class to class.
Okay, I get it.
So class to class and school to school.
Here I'm thinking, okay, this is Mr. Vallejo's class. You go to his class at this period, but you're actually
just traveling.
You're mobile.
I am mobile.
That's
Yes.
awesome. So what are some of the funny things that the kids ask you to draw or do? Are there any
goodness. The most common thing that they want us to draw is SpongeBob.
Oh my god. Wow. Of all the things.
I almost never really do what they ask me to, but I really try to say that if you listen, you follow what we're doing here, and just follow through with all 8 sessions that we have, then you will have no problem drawing SpongeBob, because I teach the art principles, how to draw certain things and form. And
I'm so glad.
And so, and then if you do draw SpongeBob, then bring it to class and show me, because I want to see it. So I really try to encourage them that whatever they want to draw, just come in and show me, and catch me at lunch or something. And it's neat.
That is cool. So you bring all of your stuff. You've got like the watercolors and it supplies also for the kids as well, right?
Yeah, the supplies, the school buys the supplies, and the whole school shares the supplies. And so
that's the thing with these budget cuts. Sometimes it's just not enough,
Yeah. So, but it's really good, because they just get their hands into it and their minds into it, and the ones that are really interested in learning, it's really good for them. And the ones that they might not be interested, they kind of start getting more interested the more they do it. As the weeks go on. And
they definitely take something away from it. I mean, initially some of them may not be interested, but they'll
Funny you should talk about budget cuts too, because I've been with it for almost 10 years. I took a couple years off because the economy took a really bad dip, and I was working like 2 schools in a year, and that's it. And so I took a little break, and I went back a couple years ago, and this year has been the busiest year ever.
Oh my goodness,
ever.
That's good to know.
And that's good, because that means our
keeping you
economy is doing better, and our schools are feeling like they can spend more time with the kids on those kinds of things.
Good. So they're all the younger, like the elementary school age.
Elementary through high school. Yeah.
What age is the easiest to teach?
Whoa, that's a hard one, because each age has its own set of issues.
Yeah.
So I like to say that that kindergarten and middle school, they're like the same, except middle school just has hormones.
Yeah, the hormones are kicking in.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
gosh.
so you deal with the same stuff. It's just more amplified in middle school.
Yeah,
so I like all the age groups, because they all have their little quirks, and they're just kind of fun to deal with.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, I get tired with just doing one age. So if I go down to kindergarten, then it's just like, anything that David says is exciting or funny, and I don't have to work too hard with things like that. Where if I go into high school, then I just can't use the same jokes with them or material.
Is it hard to engage the high school students?
No, it's just different. I find if with them, they're able to do things. They're not trying to figure out how to hold a pencil or anything. And so I just say, hey, here's what's going on, and here's a few principles. it's all yours.
Right.
And,
Okay.
And usually,
okay.
and if someone wants more instruction, then I'm usually able to do it more one-on-one kind of thing with the older kids. So actually, I like that quite a bit too.
Is there a particular trend now with the high school kids that they just
Manga.
oh, that's
Yes.
of course.
Manga.
Well, that's always been a popular thing.
Yeah, it's more now
Graphic
than
arts
ever. Yeah, it's more now than ever.
I can see
So,
that.
Yeah.
It's like a big discovery thing here now. Yeah.
But it's exciting. It's a real exciting thing that's happening now, the genre. And a lot of good art is happening. And I know a lot, not because I'm interested, but my son, he's interested in all that kind of stuff. So he keeps me up to date. He keeps me cool in school. So
Oh, God.
yeah.
Do you guys go to the Stockton Con?
We've been to Stockton Con. He's had a few costumes that he's brought. It's been really cool.
Sweet, really?
I helped him with his first costume. I helped him with a Vegeta. If you know who Vegeta is, if you don't worry about it.
Actually, I don't.
But it was really intricate, and I said, "Son, this was fun, but you're doing your next costume because that was a lot of work."
Did you also get into the
No,
dressing?
I actually worked the booths a little bit.
Okay.
The very first Stockton Con, I was selling artwork.
Oh, gosh,
And
okay.
the second one, I was with JLI. The second or third one, I was with JLI and kind of helping them with their booth too. And
I've been to all of them, and
Uh-huh.
for some reason, I don't think I remember seeing
Yeah.
you in any of. The very first one was actually at UOP. Do you remember
Yep,
that?
I do, and it was a
Wow, that
it was,
was.
a incredible success.
It was. I remember getting
Packed.
there and the line just wrapped around
That was
some of their
amazing.
buildings. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I had already been thinking they're going to have to move this event to a bigger location. And
Mhm.
then next year it was at the arena.
Yeah, and it's still packed in
Yeah.
there too. Yeah, it's just amazing.
I'm glad they brought something like that out
Me
here.
too.
I
And
mean,
it
I don't
started
know.
all these other cons too
Right,
around the
Sinister
area too.
Con, which is
Yeah.
coming up in June. Are you going
Is
to
it?
that?
I'm not sure.
You
I think I
should.
might be going on vacation.
Oh,
Now, so
okay. Okay, yeah, there's a whole new con. The Sinister Con is coming up in June, and I was just looking at some of the different guests and artists that they have on their Facebook page, and it's going to be pretty
Mhm.
interesting too. They're just getting new sponsorships from Visit Stockton, as well as some of the different eateries and restaurants downtown. I believe
Mhm.
Robex is one of them. But anyway, they got the sponsorships and everything. So they're getting popular as well for, and I think it's maybe their second or third year, Sinister Con.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think
but
I just heard of them
Yeah,
recently.
totally.
Yeah.
Just new stuff. So yeah, that's cool.
Exciting times.
Manga,
Yeah,
manga, huh?
it is
I wonder if Ghost in the Shell, the resurrection of Ghost in the Shell, had something to do with that.
Could have
making
been.
it popular
Dragon
via
Ball Z is
movie
really big
Dragon
too,
Ball Z.
so, yeah.
That's true. That's true. So that is the popular. What about for the kids? SpongeBob, you said, right?
Yeah, SpongeBob. The kids are a little more all over the place. Some of them are also into the manga too at a young age. I would say
That
maybe
scares me
under
for some
third
reason.
grade, they're not quite sure what they like.
Yeah.
But everybody
Yeah.
likes SpongeBob.
Yeah. So what are some of the equipment and tools that you use for the kids? Is there any particular one that you kind of...
Well,
focus
I
on?
try to give them a variety, and because I'm kind of a jack of all trades, and so I try to use that to my advantage. And so we start off with drawing, and we draw with Sharpies, which is permanent, and kids freak out sometimes thinking, well, I can't erase. And so I show them, though. I want to kind of put them in that uncomfortable position where they can learn.
Yes.
And so we start with Sharpies, and we have at least a couple Sharpie lessons. We move on to oil pastels,
Mm-hmm.
and then we move on to watercolors, and then we move on mixing the oil pastels with watercolors, and then we go back to Sharpies, and then we just kind of repeat it all over again.
Right.
And so I really get them into drawing and also painting and just combining the two.
Neat.
And I try to give them a real rich experience.
Yeah. Do they ever ask you, Mr. Vallejo, can you show me how to use oil paints or,
Never had that before. I have in some of my high schools, sometimes they'll actually have art supplies there. And so if they have like acrylic paints or something like
Right,
that,
yeah.
we'll use those, and I'll kind of show them a few things, a few techniques in handling
Awesome.
those.
Yeah, I work with the Boosters Club for Weston Ranch High School, and they just had a paint night this past Friday.
I
It was
saw
their
that.
very first paint night.
Did you do a painting?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you need
I
to.
know. I really should. I should have, but I was so busy with the organizing and the preparation of the food
okay.
and everything else. And The art teacher there, Mrs. Eatington, was the one that was actually instructing, and it turned out really well. A lot of people were kind of getting
That's a neat little thing that's happening nowadays.
It is. It's a huge trend right now. Now they also do have the plant night where you assemble like a little terrarium or a little plant. And then they have glass painting, so it's a lot of different creative things now that people get together and they do the instruction at different locations, whether it's at a winery or at a garden or at a school. So it's really neat.
Yeah.
You should do something like that,
Yeah,
David.
I'm not sure. I feel like I'm so spread thin that I just, there's so many things I'd like to do, but then I have to just,
focus.
There's man hours,
Oh gosh, I so know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yep. So, along with that, are there any other projects that you've been working on lately?
So my latest project was actually inspired from a school project I did in the high schools, and I had them do an abstract design, and it started off with an X on the canvas from corner to corner, and we put 3 shapes somewhere on the canvas. It could be actually the shapes were a square, a circle, and a triangle, and they could be anywhere at any size on the canvas, and oftentimes they would overlap. And from there you could just do your own thing. You put patterns or different paint strokes or just anything that you wanted to do. And there were several students that just took off with that lesson, and it inspired me. I thought, wow, this is a real neat lesson. I think I should do something with this. So I've been I'm about on my 8th canvas right now. Wow. And I'm going to take this as far as I can go until I start running out of ideas. And my idea is maybe at the end, whenever it's the end, maybe like having an art show or something with it. And
that is cool.
So that's like my project I'm really excited about right now.
What are the shapes again? An X and
the X, it starts off with an X on the full canvas. And then a circle, a triangle, and a square.
Okay. Let me see if I can do something like that later.
Yeah. Just working with simple shapes, but on top of the simple design, you have all the little techniques and things you can do.
Sweet. The other projects that you've worked on, if you guys are interested, you can log on to David's website at davidvallejo.weebly.com. That's David, D-A-V-I-D.
Don't forget the R.
R.
Yeah.
Ooh,
David R. Vallejo.
David R. Vallejo. RVALLEJO.weebly.com. And you will be able to see a lot of his work here. He does the caricatures. I'm just going to show you guys real quickly, just browsing through his website here.
Those are just ink drawings too.
Okay. These are ink drawings, and then what about these?
These are watercolor and ink, and I actually switched to pencil because this was a month challenge that I started running out of time, so I just switched to pencil kind of midway through.
These are terrific. I'm sure you guys are familiar with these faces. Look at this one. Let's see.
There you go, Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. So go ahead and bump around his website. It's terrific. There's a lot of information. He's got a wonderful blog as well. Of course, we all know who that is, don't we? That's great. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down some more and show a little bit more. There's Whoopi.
I like my Whoopi.
She's great.
She came out good.
Yeah, she did. And that's all pencil.
That's
also.
just pencil. And I ended with Anthony Hopkins and Silence of the Lamb kind of thing.
Oh, the Hannibal.
Yeah.
This fella here. Oh, this is great. That's watercolors and pencil, right?
Yeah.
I love it. I'm going to scroll back up, and you guys, again, can see what's going on here. Arnold,
yes.
It's a lot of fun. So check out his website at davidrvallejo.weebly.com.
If you're a guitar geek, you'll probably know all the guitar players up there. That was for something called Inktober. It's a popular thing amongst artists to do in the month of October to just create something with ink each day of the month. And it's put on by Jake Parker, who just kind of wanted to challenge himself, and then he just kind of shared it with the rest of the social media community, and it's really taken off with artists. There's Prince. Yeah, I had to do him.
Okay, that's it. I'm going to steal that picture. I'm just kidding. That's so horrible. You guys do not steal pictures off of websites, okay? That's not good.
At least say where you got it from.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. Okay, let's see. Then you've got this one, your illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell these are watercolor as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, everyone go ahead and bump around his website a little bit. I had a lot of fun the past couple of days looking through it. I know who that is. That's Mr. Silva. We all know who that is.
Kind of know who that is, right?
Of course. I like the Anthony Silva one, actually.
You're the monkey.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Is there another section here? Let's see.
Let's see. That other blog I just started is a different. I don't have it linked to anything.
Oh, the running?
Yeah, that's not linked to this one right here. I kind of wanted to keep them separate because I want to keep my website just strictly art.
Absolutely. No, that absolutely makes sense. What's the other one?
The address is what is it? davidruns.weebly.com. I think.
Yay.
It's brand spanking new, so I can't even remember the address. There you go.
So that's one of the things that you are really enjoying doing right now too, is just, well, you've been running for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, kind of off and on. I ran in high school, and I did triathlons and stuff too, and then I got married and just kind of stopped, and then I joined the military and went back to running again.
Yeah, I bet.
After the military, I just kind of became a couch potato, and then I gained a lot of weight, and I thought, well, I need to lose this weight, so
I know. I'm trying to get back on track myself.
We joined Weight Watchers. I got down to weight work. I'd start running again, and so I'm getting back into it.
Where it's not hard on your bones.
Yeah, because it was rough. So anyway, so this blog is just kind of my way of keeping me motivated, and if like anybody reads it or anything, then I'm accountable to them. And you can ask me, hey David, did you how are you doing with your running there? And that would be my reminder of like, okay, I need to stay with it.
Yeah, and you got did you just start playing the guitar as well?
Oh, I've been doing it for a long time, since I was like maybe 16 or 17 years old. So yeah, it's just been something I did for me, but just recently I started playing with my church, and so that's kind of a new experience.
I came from a family that just knew how to play all different types of instruments. Like, oh yeah, David very much reminds me of somebody that's from my family. I've seen you play string instruments, I think the guitar, and also wind instruments. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's
neat.
It is. It's really cool. Yeah. So I kind of felt that pressure as well. I do play the drums, and actually one of these days I'm just going to go ahead and video myself, because some people do not believe that I know how to play the drums, and I'm like, I do. I'm not that great at it, but I do. So I will. I'm going to have one of my kids just go, come here, videotape this quick. Come on, I'm just going to do something, a song. I don't even know what. I'll take requests even. Okay, so. Sure.
But, I'll watch it.
Yeah. We're going to take a real quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk about some of your future plans, maybe some other fun stuff. I was going to do a restaurant review too, because I went to this really cool place in Modesto. Do you like seafood?
I do.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about this cool restaurant I found in Modesto.
Excellent.
All right. We'll see you in a little bit. Welcome back to Breaking Barriers. David, I don't hear my audio, but I'm sure it's working fine. Okay, cool. I'm Jocelyn, your host, and this is David.
Hello.
Artist and illustrator here as my guest today. We were just talking about this restaurant that I had gone to recently because I'm going to start doing reviews. Like I was telling him, product reviews, app reviews, but the first one for today is going to be like this place I found in Modesto. And I'm really hoping that some of you can help me find one out here in Stockton. David actually mentioned that there is a place similar to it, and it's mostly seafood, mariscos, but the thing that was so different about it that really caught my attention was the fact that it was sushi and Mexican food together, combined, fusion, eclectic, bizarre. But I guess, that's really cool because one of the things that I'm trying to watch what I'm eating, and it was very healthy. Everything was healthy. Everything was fresh. It was seafood, a combination of that. So I would definitely recommend you guys check it out if you like seafood, if you want something cooler in the summer. It's, like I said, sushi and Mexican food, a lot of different styles of ceviche, and it's called Caliche Town. It's off of Dale near the mall when you take the Standiford exit in Modesto. And the reason why we started talking about food was David, it was his birthday. He was looking for a place in town, like a fried chicken place, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fried chicken place in town. And then he said, well, I got to kind of watch what I'm watching what I'm eating too. And so it's kind of like, hey, check out this place. This restaurant's really cool. It's out in Modesto. So check it out. If I were to give it a rating, it's like I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I think the only thing that kind of threw me off was there is a really loud mariachi band sometimes that kind of plays. So I don't mind it. It's just the horns sometimes is really loud. If they didn't have the horns, it would be great. And when you have somebody that you're trying to talk to, it gets kind of loud. Important. It's like, okay, it's getting loud in here. So that's the only thing. But like I said, that's like my restaurant. I'm not getting paid to say this, but it is a great place. That's my restaurant review for the week. And I told you guys, I promised that I'd start doing some reviews, whether it's product, art supplies, even movies, probably. Have you seen a movie lately at all? Have you seen any movies?
What did we see? We saw Logan. Oh, we saw Guardians of the Galaxy too.
That one's terrific.
Yeah.
Did you like that?
Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. Did you guys see the first one? I think I liked this one better than the first one more. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in that one. Yeah.
A lot going on, yeah. But that's a fun one. So we're going to be doing little reviews like that as well. But anyway, like I said, let's focus back on David. I've got some questions for him anyway. And
I hope I have some answers.
Yeah, this one's from Richie. Some people are natural artists where they can see something and just draw it out. What is your process in drawing something?
My process in drawing something is just observation. Drawing something from life is just simply observation, paying attention to what's happening in front of you, not making assumptions, because a lot of times when an artist wants to draw something in front of them, they stop looking at it and just kind of assume it looks like whatever's in their head. But just continue, looking at the model through the whole process. And really, when I teach art classes, I try to tell them a lot, but one thing I try to point out is that drawing something realistically is the easy part, but what you do with it is actually the hard part. That's where the art comes in, because up to that point, you're just rendering, you're just being a draftsman. But the message that you say with it, or how you present it, or what you do with it, that's where the creativity comes into play. So I think it's really important to be able to do that, but to take it to the next step and just really say something with it as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my process right there.
Okay, the next question from Rich is, Leonardo da Vinci drew the Mona Lisa, and it's one of the most memorable paintings today. If you had one painting that you've done, what would it be, and why would it be so special?
Wow. That's the painting I'm working toward right now. It hasn't been created yet. So I think, and and to be compared with Leonardo, that's I mean,
It's
my
amazing.
goodness, he's like a god in the
Right?
art world. So I mean, but no, I'm still, you know, one of these days.
Have you done a mural, or have you ever designed any tattoos?
I've never designed a tattoo, and I'm too afraid to hurt anybody with a needle. That's not my expertise.
I think you can like design the tattoo and have somebody else tattoo.
I've
it.
been asked to, but it's never been followed through. As far as the mural goes, I've had my hand in at least a couple that I can recall. Actually, I did one or two at my old church that I used to go to for their youth room. There's a mural at the fairgrounds. I can't remember which building it is, but I think Mario Tejada did most of it. He works with artists in schools as well. Nice. And then there needed to be an upper part, like an arc part. And so I did the upper part. And just kind of did it freehand. My supervisor asked me if I could just do something up there, and I said, okay. And I freehanded the arc and everything that went in there, and just kind of guessed as far as the scale goes, and it came out pretty good. I'm kind of impressed with myself.
And what you said, it's on one of the buildings?
It's in one of the buildings. I can't remember which one it is.
Exterior, though. Interior side.
Interior.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look for it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you brought some stuff with you.
A little show and tell. Probably. And then you gave me kind of like a preview of what the questions would be. And so you asked me about my materials. Yeah. And so I work with watercolor, and my illustrations. I've got my Spam box here, by the way.
I like that.
Got this from Target for $1. And little bottle caps on the inside that are epoxied down, so they're permanent.
Okay. And
anyway, so these are fluid watercolors I put inside. And this is my traveling kit right here, my bigger palettes at home in my studio. And anyway, so I use watercolor to build up my image first. Just build it up like a watercolor painting. And then for the finishing touches, I use India ink. And so I've got Dr. Phil Martin's Black Star Matte India ink. This is like the best stuff in the world. This is not a promotion, it's just what I use.
Why am I tempted to use that as liquid eyeliner for my eyelids?
It will be permanent.
It will be permanent.
And then I love show and tell in school. So anyway, so I build things up with a dip pen. This is called a crow quill pen. And so actually this dropper, I drop it into the quill. I don't actually dip it. Keeps things nice and neat. And this offers a nice variety of line width and thickness. And then I also, for some of the bigger line work, thicker line work, I use number one round brush. And when it's wet, it gives just a very dynamic line. And this is like the preferred tool of comic book inkers, to just use a pen. And so I did this also in ink. And then I've got some watercolor brushes I've had since college.
Oh, wow.
Those are so they're old. I take care of them. And occasionally I'll use Sharpies. So this is an ultra fine, and then just a regular fine. And with those, you could make something like a unicorn frappuccino painting right here, right? Voldemort.
That is great. Voldemort.
You know, he's always sucking unicorn blood and all that. You know, that's how he stays alive. So we didn't realize he had a sugar rush too. So anyway.
I love it. That is great. So those are all the different tools that you use.
That's basically it. And this paper is just watercolor paper. It's Strathmore paper, and I've got a bone to pick with them because they've kind of changed the
texture,
their whatever they use to make the paper, and it's not quite as durable as the stuff from like a few years ago. So I should talk to them and say, look, people, I really used to like your paper before, and now I gotta spend a ton of money on expensive paper.
Now, how long did it take you to do
this?
Something
I
like
was
this?
Just watching like TV, so like an episode of whatever it is that we're into now. So I think we're watching
30 to
White
30
Collar on Netflix. So
yeah,
I think that was done during the show.
Maybe about an hour.
About an hour or so. Yeah, we take breaks on our shows because we gotta get water and stuff to eat and stuff. So anyway.
Yeah. Cool stuff, David. Thank you for bringing those in. That's awesome, and I like this idea.
Isn't that cool?
I
just think that's like the neatest thing.
Because
and
that's all you really need if you're just going to be doing something.
These are also water brushes too, that if I'm mobile, then these fill up with water. And then, be careful here, I have different brush sizes. So this is a certain brush size right here. It's a kind of a chisel shaped brush.
What kind of fiber is that? Is that just a...
It's just like a nylon fiber.
Okay, it's nylon.
Yeah, and I'm kind of getting the hang of these still, but the water squirts into the brush.
Okay.
And you're able to wet the paint.
Sweet,
and all that.
that's awesome.
So
We'll
get that later.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. We covered a lot of ground today with
Yeah.
David.
I've got way too much to say.
Oh,
I'm
no,
such a quiet
I like
person.
it. I'm the one that's just, yeah. But you got your running blog, and then you've got your guitar thing. Any other future things that we can, look for
Well, right
with
now,
you?
other than the abstract work, I'm just going to focus on my marketing, my business, because my school year has been so busy that I have just really fallen on the wayside with that. And so I'm going to spend the summer just kind of doing the boring stuff of the business and
The administrative
stuff and
yeah.
the stuff that they don't like to talk about in art school.
They
it's
don't.
very important.
It is really important. And what's tough is a lot of artists don't know how to market themselves, or they're like not very sure. So they do have somebody else take care of that. But if you have the ability to do that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Go for it.
It's been a long road for me. Very long.
Yeah.
Rough road.
I bet. So if anybody wants to get a hold of David or talk to him or just kind of, bump some ideas around with him, how do we get a hold of you?
Just
what is the best way?
take a look at my website. I've got a contact form on there, as well as my email and even my phone number. And I'm not much of a phone talker, but if you really want to talk, then give me a ring and hire me. If you guys know any magazines in the area,
sure.
I've sent out mailers to a few, but hire me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And what is your email address?
It's graphitedad@gmail.com.
Okay. And also, like I said, you guys can go check out his website, and all of his information is there, as well as all the different art pieces that he's created. It's on the About section here, davidarvallejo.weebly.com. And I think we're going to wrap up the show for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio, David.
My pleasure. Let's
Really
do it again
had a good time.
sometime.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you guys are tuned in to Breaking Barriers, our spotlight show for Wednesday lunch hour. And we will see you next week. I've got another artist coming in next week, so be on the lookout for that. I should have it on Facebook posted in a few days. All right. See you soon. Bye, everyone.